Hey everyone. In this video, I want to talk about how to tell when someone is loyal. One of you actually suggested this topic to me, and it's a great one, so I decided to tackle it. Now, I want to start this out by saying that this can be a bit tricky, and because of that, I'm going to share with you some tips that may help, but there's nothing really foolproof here for the most part, but hopefully these tips will help you. So, the first thing is you want to pay heavy attention to the person's actions, because actions are usually the best indicator, or more so they reveal someone's true intentions. So people can talk all they want. They can tell you that they love you, they can say all sorts of things and be very charming, but their actions are what are way more important than their words. Someone can tell you that they're loyal all they want, but if their actions don't indicate that and their history doesn't indicate that, then obviously their words mean nothing. So always pay attention to their actions. So I've got some questions that may be helpful in this. The first thing you're going to want to ponder is, do they make time for you? Are they actually showing that they care about you and that they want to keep you in their life? Because if they're a loyal person, obviously they're going to be doing this. So pay attention to their actions. See if they actually want to see you as much as possible. I mean, at least if you're dating seriously, you would probably expect to see them about once a week at the minimum. So are they putting an effort to try to do that, to try to see you at least once a week? Sometimes obviously they may not be able to do that, but usually you'll be able to tell if someone is putting in effort. Their actions will show that. So pay attention to whether or not they're actually trying to make you a part of their life. And another important question here is, are they there for you during your low points? This matters more once you've been dating them for a while or when you're actually in a relationship with them. Although you probably do want to figure out whether or not they're loyal before you end up in a relationship with them. But anyway, so think about this question. When you have periods where you're not feeling great, where you're going through something, maybe if you're transitioning between jobs, I don't know why I've had a brain fart there, or if you are going through a harsh period, maybe losing a loved one or a pet or something that makes you fall into grief even, or sadness, when you're feeling slightly depressed, are they there for you? Do they stick by you during your low points? This is probably one of the best indicators of them being loyal, because so many people will not be willing to do that if they aren't loyal and if they don't truly care about you. So it reveals both of those things. It will let you know whether or not they actually really care about you as well, which is a great indicator. If someone is there for you during your low points when you're just dating them, especially if it's like, if you haven't been dating them for a long period of time and they're actually there for you, that is a great indicator of this person being loyal. Especially, like I said, if it's early in the dating period, because so many people will not be willing to do that if they have only been on, say, 3 or 4 dates with you. They're not going to want to be loyal when you're feeling down and out, because they're not going to want to deal with that heavy energy, especially if they feel like they're not fully invested in you yet. So if they're doing that, that is an awesome indicator that you should definitely pay attention to. Oh, and I should throw in here, never fake a low point to try to test them on this, because that is not cool. Don't play games with people. Be real. So if you're actually going through a low point, then you can see how they react, but never fabricate a low point just to judge them on this. That's really not cool. I have to put that in there, because dating games are not cool stuff. I keep saying not cool. Yeah, they're just, don't do them. So anyway, on to more stuff. Another thing you can do here, besides just analyzing their actions, is analyzing their life, their history. And basically, you want to pay attention to their relationships with their friends, their family, and their romantic relationships from their past. So, does this person have long-term friends? Have they been able to maintain friendships for long periods of time? And obviously, this, you don't need to look for people who are still friends with people they grew up with, because, I mean, let's face it, a lot of people grow and change over time, so the odds of them still being friends with people from their childhood are probably pretty low, but you just want to make sure that they have friends that they've had in their life for like 3 years or more, just people they've had for a while, so that way you know that they're capable of committing to people. I know this isn't a friendship sense, but still, I mean, you want this person to show that they're actually loyal to people outside of just the relationships, because that's an indicator of their ability to be loyal in relationships. And also, you want to kind of judge the merit of their friends. Basically, are their friends high quality? Are they low quality partiers where they just only go out on the weekends and drink and party and go clubbing and do stuff like that? Because if their friends are all like that, that's kind of a bad indicator that they could potentially cheat on you, because if they're a party animal type, those are the people who are probably the most likely to cheat on you, especially if they maintain their partying tendencies while they're dating you and into a relationship. So you really want to judge their friends and see not just if they've been friends for a long time, but also if their friends are actually good influences, because those will tell you whether or not this person is loyal, and also it'll give you an idea of whether or not this person is a high quality person. So the next question to think about is, are they close to their family? Now, this one I have to throw a caveat in. This is if their family is actually, good people, because if their family are not great and they aren't close to them, that's okay. I mean, you wouldn't expect them to be. If their family are a bit toxic, or if they've got a narcissist in their family, or just, family members who aren't great, then you wouldn't exactly want them to be super close to them, because that could lead to problems and mental health issues, and they'd probably need therapy. So in those cases, you want to pay attention to whether or not, if their family is from normal to good, then just see if they're actually close to them, because that can be another indicator of them being loyal. But like I said, this one isn't foolproof, just because everybody's family is so different that I can never make a blanket rule here, nor would I ever want to. So if their family are good people, or even just normal people, then yeah, see if they're close to them. And if not, then disregard this one. So on to the next question. What is their relationship history? This one is huge, but it's also tricky, because you're relying on them to be honest here. And this, you can usually kind of tell if somebody's honest or authentic just from the way they are when you're dating them, the way they act when you go out on dates, the kind of person they are, whether or not they're kind, genuine, and truly care about others, if they treat service workers like they're real people. Those are all good signs about them being potentially an honest and upright person. But it is very easy for people to lie about their dating history, especially if they think that you're going to judge them based on their past. So this one is very tricky. So I would say your goal from dating anyone should be to be as non-judging as possible. You do not want to make this person feel like you're going to judge them based on their actions, especially what happened to them in the past. And the less judgmental you are, the more likely the person will be to be honest, because they're not going to feel like you're going to attack them for it, or like you're going to reject them for it. So be honest from the very beginning, or non-judging, should I say? I'm getting mixed up. Be non-judging from the very beginning, because that will free them to be their authentic self. And then when you talk about past relationships and that sort of thing, they're far more likely to be honest. But even then, you still can't fully know. But at least it's a far better, or your odds are far higher if you're non-judgmental and you create a sort of, I hate this word, but if you create a safe space for you and them, then a space of non-judgment, there we go, that's a much better way of putting it. If you create a space of non-judgment with them, then yeah, they'll be far more likely to be honest about their dating history and relationship history, and then you can get a decent idea of the kind of person they're like. But another thing here is, if you do find that they're being very hesitant to talk about their history, or they just won't open up about certain things, that's probably a really bad sign. So also pay attention to that. So you're aiming for honesty from them, but if you don't get honesty, then that's a good sign that this is probably someone you do not want to end up in a long-term relationship with, just because you want someone who would feel comfortable being honest with you. So, but if they are honest about their relationship history, then obviously you're going to be looking for whether or not they've had long-term relationships, or at least whether or not their relationships have ended in decent ways, and maybe if they're still in touch with some of their exes, although again, that one's very, very dependent on who their ex was and how the relationship ended and that sort of thing. But if they've had long-term relationships, and if they still kind of are not necessarily on good terms with their exes, but they don't hate them, those are signs that they may be a more loyal person. And you just want to make sure that they haven't cheated in their past. And sometimes you may need to find that out from their friends. But again, that's tricky because you need to be good enough or close enough to their friends for their friends to trust you and tell you that information, knowing that it could potentially hurt the relationship with the person that you're dating. So yeah, there's a lot of trickiness here, but for the most part, these things can help you get a better idea of whether or not someone is loyal. You just want to kind of put it all together and be a detective and put the puzzle pieces together and see if they form a mental picture of this person being loyal. And if not, then you may not want to get into a long-term relationship with them because you just never know. But at the end of the day, if the person has evidence from their actions and their history of them being a high quality person, that usually means they're going to be loyal. And if the evidence points to them being low quality, I would not bet on them being loyal. And in fact, I would probably assume that they wouldn't be loyal because loyalty isn't exactly a quality of low quality people. But anyway, I'll end this video here. So I hope this video helped you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci.